Anyway, okay, so hi everyone. Welcome to the PTO meeting. Thank you for coming. My name is Kathy Rumfelt. I know most of the people in here, we have a couple of new faces, but we just wanted to go ahead and have our first meeting so we could talk about some things that are happening and just get everybody connected for the school year. We do have a couple of new faces in here. Welcome to Chase. And just so to give you a brief overview of PTO, we mainly provide volunteer assistance for events at the school. And we also raise money for teacher grants and school-wide projects. And we're just here to support the teachers and the students. So that's our role. It doesn't cost anything to join the PTO. You just have to sign up for the mailing list. So, and then you're a part of it and you can get involved at whatever level that you want to. You can volunteer, or we'll talk about being an officer later on. I'm going to turn it over to my sister, Carrie. Well, first, I am on the leadership committee. Last year, we decided not to have officer positions, which we are going to change this year. So there were 3 of us on the leadership committee, and that is myself and Lindy Miller, who's our treasurer, and then my sister, Carrie Bishop, who I'm going to turn it over to now to go over a couple of things.
So I stopped sharing my screen. I hope it's jumping to my face. Is it jumping to my face? Okay, good.
Yeah.
I'm Carrie Bishop. I'm Kathy's twin. We look the same. We're also wearing the same glasses. We didn't plan that. I'm sorry about that. The other thing I wanted to mention is that we usually have PTO meetings monthly. This has obviously been a super weird year. It continues to be a super weird year, and for now, we are planning to continue virtual PTO meetings just because we want to do what we can to reduce the likelihood of exposure to COVID, and we know a lot of people are going to start being back in person. So right now we're going to stay virtual. That's a conversation we can have as a group, and if you have feelings about it strongly one way or another, please do email us at ptochastreet@gmail.com. Having said that, while we're on Zoom today, we're going to try and do all of the kind of updates and report kind of stuff first, and then we're going to have questions at the end. So if you have a burning question while we're talking, usually in person we kind of let people, raise their hands and everybody can talk, but in Zoom it can be really hard to do that and not have it be crazy. So if you have a question while we're giving updates and talking, please type it in the chat, or if you want to say your question, you can also say, I have a question for later, and we'll try and go through those at the end of the meeting quickly and efficiently, but also let people share their voices. And we're going to record every meeting. We're going to upload it to YouTube and share the recording. We're going to try and give ample notice when we have the virtual meetings, and make sure that we spread it across multiple platforms. Thank you, Susie Mojak, for kind of nudging us today to make sure we send it to school-wide email listserv, and we're going to do Dojo next time too. So that's all I have to say for now.
All right, we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna let Mr. Snow talk first because I think he's probably been at school all day and then in a meeting, and now he's in this meeting. So Mr. Snow, if you want to give just a brief update, if you can, of what has been going on getting ready for the return.
Yeah, so obviously, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
We have been kind of waiting for the district to present us with the information we needed to really make a lot of decisions. And that happened today. Angela was at a meeting basically all morning until the early afternoon. And I guess one of the most important things that came out of that is that we now have a start time. So right now we're looking at starting at 7:40 and we're gonna end the day around 2:40 for elementary school. I guess in thinking about things to present to you all, we've been obviously gathering survey data from families, trying to figure out how many of our students will be coming back face-to-face. And we are basically at a 60-40 split, where 60% of the students are coming back and 40 are going to be continuing with virtual. It's different at each grade level. And so we are in the process of trying to figure out exactly what it's going to look like when we're back in the building. It looks as though we would have at least one virtual teacher at every grade level, and some grade levels will have 2. It all depends on those particular classes. Any questions about those things? I know that that has been kind of a hot topic around town, trying to figure out those things out. If I'll be happy to stop right there and take any questions that you guys have.
Hey, Matt, this is Kelly. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, sir?
Good, good. So in the early conversations, there was some prospect that some virtual teachers may be sort of district-wide. So you may have a first grade teacher who might teach some Chase kids, some Witt kids, some Fowler kids. Is that still planned, or is it now looking like virtual teachers will be connected to the school more exclusively?
Yeah, so I missed out on that first part because my connection was unstable. My computer's telling me. Could you just run that whole thing by me one more time? I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that. Early in conversations, the prospect was that some of the virtual teachers would really be district-wide, so they may serve multiple elementaries or multiple middle schools. Is that still the likely dynamic?
So we're kind of operating under the assumption, I guess, that we are going to be able to hold everything in-house. We are looking to use our teachers to do the virtual as well as the face-to-face. However, obviously, within each grade level, there will be some shuffling of kids to accommodate that. Obviously, everybody's virtual right now, and then those teachers who are coming back to the face-to-face, we're going to have to divide out some of the kids. But, we know that kids are resilient, and they should be able to navigate that hopefully pretty well. The students who are remaining online, I had conversations with the 5th grade team about that, and one of the things that they're looking at is basically looking at all the students as being their own, so they're going to work in collaboration. I believe right now with 5th grade, it looks like we're going to have 2 virtual teachers and 2 face-to-face, and they have already been figuring things out at that level. I've not reached out to every grade level at this point to see how things are shaken out, but those conversations are happening.
Hey, Mr. Snow, there was a question in the chat about from Kristen and Morales, and she was asking if the breakdown is the same for pre-K. Kristen, did you mean like the 60-40 breakdown, or you mean teachers?
Yeah, since there's only 2 teachers, so I wasn't sure how that might, if there's like one online, one in person, that kind of thing.
Yeah, so pre-K is always kind of handled. It's pre-K is just a little different. I would say that I think right now it looks as though we have enough students to be in one room. And so I anticipate that one teacher would do the face-to-face instruction with a parapro, and then there would be a teacher to do the virtual. However, with pre-K, it's a little bit different because they have their own program. So not 100% certain I have the clarity on that one right now.
Sally, do you want to ask a question? You had your hand up.
This might be a bit premature, so forgive me, but my brain is like, whoop. It's to do with online and at home. What is the school going to do when a child comes to school sick or gets sick during the day, and how will that impact the online versus in-person assignment for children versus teachers and things?
Great question. So again, so Ms. Jackson was at the meeting today, and I'm trying to remember all the elements of it that she shared with us. Our understanding, or my understanding, is that the students would be working in cohorts within a class. So I believe in the classroom, some teachers have tried to arrange their desks to see how it would look if they are truly 6 feet apart from each other. And I think we've been able to fit 12 students. Most of the classes right now, I believe, range anywhere from 12 to 16 students per class for the ones who are coming back face-to-face. We got word today that it would be okay for students wearing masks to sit at tables and work as a cohort. So those group of students would line up together, they would eat lunch together, they would basically, kind of travel around together as necessary. And to answer your question, I guess, if one of those individuals was to contract COVID or get sick, then I think until there's a positive test, is, and I might not be getting this 100% correct, but I believe that if there was a positive test, then obviously all the students in that cohort would need to quarantine. However, if until that positive test is received, then those students would still be able to come to school if they were working in that cluster. Does that answer your question a little bit?
And then which teacher would they then go to? Do they then get shuffled to a different teacher?
During the school day?
If they have to leave the school and they have to go online again, what happens to their teacher assignment?
So at this point, we're not quite sure how that's going to look. I think there has been some conversations about those students who are out of school for particular reasons, they would join the virtual classroom in some capacity. But again, some of those details we have not really gotten down to those elements yet.
Thank you.
Hi, I have sort of a related question. Can I follow up on that? Is that okay?
Sure.
Hi, I'm Merida Lang. My daughter Frankie's in kindergarten. Mr. Snow, you've spoken to my husband a couple times. He said you were great. Thank you for everything, for all the work. So if a student tests positive, then what happens to the students, or if a family member of a student tests positive, what happens to the students in the class? Does everybody quarantine for 2 weeks?
So if there was you're saying that if there was a family member who tests positive at
or
home,
a student, yeah.
So there are guidelines that, again, I haven't actually read through everything, but that was, I think, discussed in the Clark County protocols. I'm not exactly 100% certain I know the answer to that right now. So I apologize. I think there'd be more information. One of the things that we're going to do is that we're going to hold a town hall where we can answer some of these questions more in detail. Right now, we're looking at using November 4th as the town hall for Chase Street, and then there would be a teacher version of that November 5th.
Okay.
So that would be kind of like we did at the beginning of the year with the teachers.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I gotta just get into the light a little bit. It's getting a little dark.
We had another question in the chat that said, will the kids have to shuffle again if everyone goes back in person in January?
I mean, I think that would probably have to happen. That's not helping either. As things develop, I think that we just have to be flexible and be able to make changes as necessary. In January, I think it's on January 15th, at the beginning of the second semester, families are going to be asked to kind of complete that same survey, deciding whether or not they would like their children to continue with face-to-face or come back or stay virtual. So it's likely that the numbers would change, and therefore we would need to readjust based on whatever the data is showing.
So we could probably ask Mr. Snow questions all night, but I'm thinking he might not want to do that. And also we have other things to talk about. Does anyone else have another burning question that they want to ask? And it's great to hear that we're gonna have a town hall, so we'll have even more chances to ask you questions, Mr. Snow. Any other questions for now?
This is Karen Dressel. I guess it's not really a question, more just I'm sure with this SPED program and the children with their certain teachers, I'm hoping y'all haven't really heard much. So just any idea on whether they'll be staying with their same teachers if they're virtual or not, or how that's going to work, or is that like way further than where we are right now?
I mean, that's a great question. I mean, obviously, special ed is near and dear to me. That's where I've spent all my time. So we're going to do the best we can with that program. I anticipate that we're going to be asking a lot of our special ed teachers.
Yeah.
We're going to be asking them to do both the virtual and face-to-face to some capacity. We're going to try to. I've heard about all the struggles from friends of mine who are doing that in other counties, and so hopefully that we have some examples that we can use for some of their successes and learn from their failures.
Yeah.
But it is something that we're going to have a lot of conversations about. So I don't have any specific information other than to let you know that that is something that Ms. D'Angelo and I are going to be spending a lot of time talking about.
Okay. I appreciate it. I know there's a lot of unanswered questions right now, so I know it's a lot. Thank you.
That's always on my mind as well. So
I know, I appreciate it.
Alrighty. Is there anything else you want to tell us, Mr. Snow?
So earlier today, we mentioned at our LSGT meeting, Ms. Jackson went over some of the playbook ideas that are being discussed. We went over we're going to have protocols in place for entry into the building in the mornings for when students arrive. We want everyone to know that, obviously we are going to be taking temperatures at the 5 different locations where students enter the building. We are going to be very mindful and stagger students in the building to make sure that we're cutting down on the crowds in the hall. We want to make sure that we're spacing everybody out. So we're really being mindful with our arrival process and also with the dismissal. As of right now, we don't plan on using the cafeteria for breakfast or for lunch. Students will be getting breakfast in the morning at one of the entry points where they would get a grab-and-go breakfast and take it to their classroom. At lunch, we will be using the cafeteria to get lunches, but we will not be remaining there. Students will be eating their lunches in the classrooms. At recess time, we're thinking about, as of right now, we anticipate having 4 different zones at recess for students to use. That is still in the works, but it looks as though we'd be using like the bus loop as one zone, the playground we'd split that into 2 different zones, and then possibly the front car loop here as another zone. But I think that, trying to think, at each grade, I think there are some grades where we'd have 4 groups of students, 4 teachers doing the face-to-face. So we really would need 4 zones. So trying to think of some of the hot topics that people might be, other hot topics people might be talking about or wanting to know information about. Did I miss one that people would like to know more about?
I mean, I'm sure we could keep on asking you questions, but I feel like we should let you we should let you off the hook for now.
I just have a really quick question about specials. How will those be orchestrated?
Yes, thank you for bringing that one up. So as of right now, we are thinking that the students would be traveling to their specials classrooms to have those. We are going to have 5 different specials where we're going to have STEM, music, art, PE, and what's the one that Miss Adams does?
Spark.
Spark, there we go. We'll be having Spark as well. Thank you. And so the students would be traveling to those classrooms. We're still trying to finalize how that's going to look, whether or not we're going to have students, maybe students in Miss Elliot's class have art every day for a week, and then she would switch the following week. We're still trying to figure out which model we're going to use. So I don't have a definite answer right now regarding that. We are going to allow time for the rooms to be sanitized between classes and have things wiped down. We are planning time accordingly for that. Another element of our day is that we're trying to really be mindful of having students have an opportunity to have their masks off outside. So we're trying to work in some mask breaks for students where they are socially distant and they can take off their mask for some moments outside. But the expectation is that if they are in the building, we're going to have our masks on.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Snow. I think, Kathy, do you think we should go ahead and, okay, yeah,
Sorry. If you have a question that you wanted to ask Mr. Snow, you can pop it in the chat and we can make sure that he gets it. They'll address it at the town hall. That it'll be, and I know that people can also submit on the thing y'all sent before, where people could put their questions too.
Right. I'm sure that we'll be developing a Google document or some form that we'll send out to the community for everyone to submit questions to, for sure. And I can monitor the chat while I am here for the remainder of the meeting.
Oh, okay. If you want to go home though.
Bedtime. I'm going home right now. I don't want to put the kids to bed.
Good point. Good point. All right. Thank you so much. What's next? Oh, Lee made it from the LSGT meeting. So if you don't mind, Lee, giving us a brief update from LSGT, and I know you were in another Clark County meeting today, we would be so appreciative.
Yeah, sure. So the LSGT met sitting out in our camping chairs in front of Chase. So it was kind of good to be in person, distant, with masks on, of course. We spent a lot of our time talking about the 90-day action plans, and I'm hoping to get that posted on the LSGT part of the Chase website. I know that Ms. Jackson and Mr. Snow and Ms. Nizwicki have put in a lot of time, and the teachers as well, of the things that they're working on. So we'll get that shared up. I won't spend a lot of time kind of going through that. And then the other thing we talked a good bit about is the LSGT Better Every Day grant, which we have the opportunity to apply for about $24,000 to fund things within the school. And just some ideas that we're bouncing around. We want to make sure that the teachers have things that they need or they want for their classrooms, or to make better outdoor spaces. Maybe do we need more picnic tables outside? Do we need to purchase tents so that we have some coverage and some shade? We also talked about HEPA filters and putting air filtration units in each classroom, and what that would cost, and would the district even allow us to do that? And so Taylor and Vicki both brought that up, and it was great conversation around that. And I think we're just going to go straight to Dr. Thomas and see if the district would allow that. Our hope would be that the district would maybe think to buy them for the whole district, and we wouldn't need to use our Better Everyday grant money for it. But it may be something that we look to partner with PTO on, in saying, how might we raise some PTO funds to match some grant funds to buy some air filtered things for each classroom, just to try and make teachers and students as safe as we can and create the healthiest environment that we can for kids going back. So that's really where we are. There are other ideas that, teachers have said things, in conversations I've had, things like, what if we got yoga mats where kids would have something to sit on outside, and every student had their own yoga mat, or hula hoops, that's their personal space. If they sit down outside, you sit in your hula hoop. We want to be creative. We also recognize that we're going to need to probably fund some outdoor activity things. Mr. Snow brought up at the LSGT, we may need a whole truckload of sidewalk chalk. Because activities like that where kids wouldn't necessarily have to share it, you'd have a piece of chalk you're using, and then things that we're gonna all just make sure we have our kids in the habit of wash your hands, wear your mask, and stay distant. That it's gonna be, so we're gonna have to work with our kids to make sure that they know to do that. We also talked about this in a meeting I was in earlier. I'm on the Return to School committee for the district. As the co-chair for the LSGT, we talked about being able to use the playground equipment. At first, there were some thoughts that we wouldn't let kids use that, but as Mr. Snow said, the idea of creating playground zones where you have a limited number of kids on the equipment at a time, that when they go outside, you wash your hands, you use hand sanitizer when you go outside. When you come back in, you use hand sanitizer or wash your hands again. So just getting in that habit of, whenever you're engaging with kind of those high touch surfaces like a playground equipment, that you make sure your hands are clean. I guess that's really the big thing. The biggest things I will add to what Mr. Snow was saying, that I think that the district is having a couple of forums next week, to maybe Tuesday and Wednesday, to talk about return to school. I think that's right. And so that'll be some opportunities to learn some more about their plans. Amy Roark has put together a great presentation and has done a lot of work on how we do this as safely as we can, on what protocols will be if there is a positive case in the school, about how that'll be communicated. So I think it'll be very valuable to hear that from her. And I think they're also going to make that available as a webinar, so you could watch it at your, when the time's right for you, because sometimes when meetings are scheduled, it's not always the right time for you to be there. So I think that that's going to be made available as well. So we'll meet again as an LSGT officially in November. We may end up doing a called meeting before then, so we can put in our LSGT grant and move those funds along, because I know we'd really like to have things that the teachers would like and would be beneficial for the students in place when we go back in person on November 9th. So that's all I have.
Thank you so much, Lee. We really appreciate that update. Alrighty. Oh, so
I think it's me.
Yeah. How about it?
So we're going to move on to the PTO specific stuff now. What we normally do, for those of you who are new to the PTO meetings, is we will go through all of our different committees. We have 5 committees, and then each committee will give a little update about what's going on. Again, this is a weird year, so there's not a whole lot going on right now, but we're hopeful that we'll still be able to get some activities together and do some things for Chase as a PTO. The first thing I want to share with everybody is that we are in the process of taking nominations for officer roles. Currently, the leadership team is currently the leadership team is me and Carrie and Lindy Miller, who's the treasurer. And we are looking for people who are interested in being part of the leadership team. It's a president, a vice president, a secretary, and a treasurer. And we certainly are excited to have new faces, and we would love to have some new people join the PTO. Again, we acknowledge this is a weird year, so we are we'll continue in our roles if no one is interested in jumping in, but we would absolutely love to see some new faces on PTO. So if you are interested in doing that, you can email us, or if you know someone who you think would be good. I know a lot of times people come into the school and they're new and they're like, well, I don't know if I want to do that yet, but we love having new faces to Chase come in and become a part of it right away, especially if you have younger kids and you're going to be here for a while. Take nominations for the next probably this week, maybe into next week, and then we'll vote online for officers. So just know that that is something that we're really want is some new faces and some fresh ideas on PTO. The other thing I wanted to tell you about was that we do have a new t-shirt this year. Woo, fun stuff. We were very lucky that Will Bramlett, who is a parent, and he is also the co-chair of our Helping Hands Committee, designed an awesome t-shirt. Are you going to share that, Carrie?
Yes, I was going to do like a drum roll or something.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't know that we were being dramatic. So he designed an awesome new t-shirt. We got it through Satisfactory, and they're going to open a web store tomorrow that people can order it. I guess I'll drum roll because that's what Carrie wanted me to do. And you can see it says Chase Street Elementary, connected at any distance, because we wanted to make this sort of a special shirt since this has been a special year. And we're going to offer all 3 of those colors. And so I'll send you guys the link.
Wait, can you see it?
Yeah, we can see it.
Okay.
It looks
I thought
awesome.
You did this every day. Yes, Will is amazing. So I think Brittany's here. I don't know if Will's here, but we it's amazing. We're so excited about it. And we are going to have the same pricing format as we did last year. If you remember last year, the shirts were pay what you can or pay what you want. So there'll be a scale from $5 to $25. So you know, and you'll be able to do that on the Satisfactory website, where there'll be coupon codes if you want to pay less for the shirt, or if you want to pay a little bit more, and the extra donation goes to the PTO. And Satisfactory will ship it straight to your house. So we're really excited to work with them this year. But that is the new t-shirt. That I'm really excited about it too. So I think that's it about the t-shirt, Carrie, if you want to. I don't think there's anything else on my part of it. So Carrie, your turn. Oh, whoops, sorry. Do you want me to start? I can start.
No, it's okay. Well, I saw Miss Jackson joined, and I didn't know if she wanted to say anything, or sorry to put you on the spot, Miss Jackson, but you don't have to say anything. But Matt gave us kind of an update on reopening. So hello.
Oh, Matt, thank you. Because I was so hungry, I had to get something to eat. So I'm trying to eat. So, you know, I'm here.
Awesome. I just wanted to say we're glad you're here. And if you want to say anything, you can interrupt us because you're the boss. Okay.
Thank you.
So, I know what I'm supposed to talk about now. So I am supposed to talk about joining the PTO if you don't already know how to do that, and how to donate if you want to do that. So let me share my screen again. There we go. Okay, so this is, can you see that? Awesome. So this is the PTO website. It's just chasestreetpto.com. And on the website, there's a big button down here that says join, and then there's also a link up here that says join. But either one of them, if you click, it's just going to say, hey, we want you to join the PTO. There aren't any fees associated with joining. Essentially what it's going to do is give us your information, and we're going to put you on the PTO listserv so you can get the announcements and updates that we send to the listserv. And so if you click the join, it's just going to give you a form to fill out. If you're interested in being in the committees, that's something that you can also communicate with us about. And then on the website also, there's a donate button. So if you want to donate to the PTO, this takes you to a link to donate via PayPal. So please join if you haven't already. We do update the list every year. So if you want to be on the listserv, this is a way to get on the listserv. It is a Google group, and we will just send periodic updates and reminders about the meetings and that kind of stuff. Let's see what else. Oh, I wanted to give a teacher grants update. So one of the things that the PTO does is we provide grants for teachers. And we have actually, since I have the website up, an application where teachers can apply for grant money. And we've already given 2 grants this year, both of them to Mr. Seguchi. One was for the renewal of a comic app, the Pixton comic app that he's used previously and that the kids really love. And then he also applied for a grant to get funds to help provide face shields for all the staff at Chase Street. And so we funded both of those grants. And if there are other teachers who want to get grants, please fill out the application. We would love to help you out. Okay. Oh, the other thing I was going to say is that, like I said, we're recording this meeting. We're going to upload it to YouTube and provide the link for everyone. I'll also type out minutes and put those on the website as well. I think it's under committees and resources is where I typically post the minutes. So again, we'll send out information about that, but we just wanted to let you all know that it's super important to us that you know when the meetings are happening, that you're able to get to the meetings, that you feel like your voice is being heard, and that you're a part of the PTO, because this is really your organization. We're just here to facilitate everybody getting together and talking about stuff. So please email us if you have questions. It's PTO Chase Street, right, at gmail.com.
Yes, that's right.
And Kathy and I both monitor that email, and we're pretty quick at getting back to you. So, okay, that's all. That's my update. That's the leadership committee. You want, I think, Lindy, we're going to hand it over to you now to do the treasurer's update.
Stop sharing your screen.
I know I am.
So I did just see the question about what we spend PTO funds on, and I'm going to get to that. I'll tell you where we spend our money in a typical year and then what it's looking like this year. As was already mentioned, we've spent about $700 already this year on teacher grants, And then another large chunk of money we spend every year is for teacher appreciation at the beginning of the school year. The PTO provides $50 to homeroom teachers and $25 to other teachers in the building to help buy supplies for their classroom. So this year that cost about $2,700. So we've spent about $3,600 already this year. In a typical year, we would have already started to raise some funds to cover these expenses, but we have not yet this year.
So good.
To that note, the way we raise money are large fundraisers. I'm sure someone's going to talk about A is for Arts, and you've probably seen the paper come home. Last year, we raised $2,500 with that fundraiser. Our t-shirts typically raise around $2,000 with the pay what you want system. And then the rest comes from donations from individuals and local businesses. And we typically need to raise $8,000 to $10,000 a year in total just to cover the normal teacher grants and teacher appreciation expenses we have. We spend some money on gardens, we spend some money on A is for Arts programs, but then in years past, we've been able to do special fundraisers for larger expenses. So outside of that $8,000 to $10,000, we've had years where we've put in new garden boxes at the school. We've purchased risers for Miss Ragsdale. We had a bake sale to cover those expenses. So when an unusual large need comes up, we typically will do a separate campaign or ask for donations to cover those. So right now, we have $4,252 in the bank, which, as I mentioned, is a little lower than it would normally be at this point, since we're not getting donations yet and haven't started the t-shirt sales yet, but hopefully we'll get that account back up to where it needs to be once we start selling t-shirts. So any questions? Anybody want more details on any of that? You can send an email to the Chase Street PTO and I can get back in touch with you. And then we also put our financial reports up on the website so you can pull and see there.
Thank you, Lindy. So what I'd like to do now is just go through each of the committees so you can see who's on those committees, and then they can give us a little update if they have an update. I think I'm going to start with gardening, if that's okay, Ramsey. Yeah, and I'll throw it over. Ramsey next is the chair of our gardening committee. We have an awesome garden, as most of you guys know, at Chase. And she is going to just tell us a little bit about what they have coming up. Sorry, I muted you. You're fine.
That's okay. Thank you. Yeah, so we did some planting over the summer. I had a big group from UGA for the Dog Day of Service. They came in and really cleaned up the garden at the tail end of the summer. And then Keep Athens Clarke County Beautiful donated enough seedlings for 4 boxes. So we've got 4 boxes productive again, but I'd like to add more. And I did just want to tell anyone who wants to join the gardens, I do maintain an email address. It's chasestreetgardens@gmail.com. And occasionally I'll send out just an email to the entire garden committee just saying, you know, here's what we've got going on. Please, you know, go over there on the weekends with your family and do some gardening if you just want to. And right now, I will say we've got tons of greens coming in, and I wish the teachers would harvest on their way out of school every day. And maybe that's something I could ask Mr. Snow or Dr. Jackson to tell the teachers to feel free to harvest, because the more we harvest, the more it'll come in. And so it's actually still productive right now, and we've got I think the counselor, Cynthia Ballard's got a big group coming in this weekend to do some work, some more cleanup work. So the new boxes are looking really good, and I'm just ready for the kids to be able to use them again. And I guess the one idea I had that I kind of wanted to throw out there and get any feedback from you all. Last year, our MLK Day of Service, where we had to rebuild the boxes, it was so well attended. I mean, I was blown away, and it was really fun. It seemed like a great way to build community at Chase Street. And so I was just kind of noodling today on next year's MLK Day, which is January 18th. And I just feel like Monday is a really good day for people, you know, when they don't have to go to work. So oftentimes we ask our families to get involved on Saturdays, and Saturday is not always the best day for families, but Monday on a day off, it just went really well. So I was just thinking, the outdoor classroom looks really rough right now. And that's an area that we could reclaim, especially given the pandemic. That would be just another space for our teachers and our students if we could get it cleaned up. So I thought about hosting a weed wrangle, kind of reclaim the outdoor classroom weed wrangle. And I think we could, the Athens Clarke County government has opened up their website for ideas for MLK Day of Service. So not only would we be inviting Chase Street families to help, but potentially other community members would be interested in helping, because I think the county is looking for as many ideas as possible to get behind that are safe. And there's the one good thing is gardening is, in my mind, it's a safe activity, especially if you're able to distance and wear masks and be outside. So that was one idea. And I also had another idea of, I know our art garden has been fairly stagnant for the last few years. And I just wondered if there was a way to do like an I Have a Dream art installation in the art garden. Perhaps Ms. Dean would have some ideas on that, but just give the students an opportunity to contribute to even commemorating this crazy year just for legacy's sake. Let's use this as a teachable moment. So that was another idea. And then also just general cleanup and maintenance, just to have a big work day at Chase Street. So I don't know if anybody had any thoughts or ideas on that, but I'd like to go ahead and get it on the calendar, because I think it could be, we could make a difference, at least outside on our grounds.
I think that's a great idea. I guess we probably have to clear it with the Ms. Jackson and Mr. Snow about the safety protocols about having people outside on campus. But I think all those ideas are great. Those are great ideas.
Well, and if we got enough volunteers, and with the distancing that we would have to employ, there may be enough coverage for us to really clean up, different areas of the grounds. But I just know that, like, I've been going once a week just to make sure that the boxers are watered, and my kids wind up in that classroom, that outdoor classroom, every time. They just love that it's like a little hidey hole. They just love it. And I just think, gosh, this is another area that we could really use, but it is a mess.
That sounds awesome. I think,
if anybody wants to join the garden committee, so you can get, annoying emails from me looking for volunteers on weekends, please email me at chasestreetgardens@gmail.com.
And also, Ramsey needs a co-chair. She doesn't have one right now. So if anyone is interested in doing that, that could be something else that you could participate in. So thank you so much for that, Ramsey.
Oh, you're welcome. And I love gardening, but I'm not an expert in it. So if anybody is an expert, feel free to come tell me what to do. I just like to work.
You're awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So next, Kathy, which committee are we going to next? Where'd you go? Oh, you're okay. Let's go to Helping Hands. Brittany and Will Bramlett are Helping Hands chairs. I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm going to cancel this and find Brittany in my big list of people. There you are. I'm going to spotlight you.
Hey, okay. I am going to speak very briefly because I got to run then, but the Helping Hands Committee had its first year as a committee last year. Sadly, we didn't get to finish that year. But we focused on recruiting Chase Street family, parents, grandparents, people to help out with different things around the building at Chase. Sometimes that was volunteering for like Hispanic Heritage Night, or helping set up or tear down for big events like the musicals, helping out Miss Ragsdale with that. Or probably most famously and most needed, getting people to help organize and clear out the lost and found closet. Sadly, none of that is happening now, but we are trying to think of ways to continue that work this year, especially as some teachers and students come back to the building. So I don't know, I guess hold on, and we'd love to hear any of your ideas that you have. And we're, Will and I are thinking about some things, but need to run them by probably Miss Jackson and Mr. Snow, and maybe even start with Miss Ellett is what I was thinking. So, but that's it.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, we have teacher appreciation. Jenna, I see that you're wrangling a baby. So unless there's something you want to update, I can show your face and explain what y'all do. Are you good to talk?
I'll give a little bit, but you probably know more than I do. This is my second.
I don't know about that.
Alicia could make it tonight. But just in general, you know, I think our goal is to kind of just dote on the teachers and all the staff within Chase Street. Like everybody else, it's been a little bit different this year. The only thing I think we've been able to do so far was provide snacks for the pickup line, which I think was pretty well received. So we are definitely looking for new ideas, innovative ideas. If anybody has any, we're also looking for people to join our committee. We would really appreciate that. And I don't think we have anything planned yet, but when we do, we will definitely start reaching out. That's all I got.
Awesome.
I was just going to say, we really do appreciate all the food and snacks and everything that you guys have been providing us. Both of our distribution days, it was really well received. So thank you so much for all of that. It makes everything so much nicer to have a Coca-Cola and some snacks while we're doing it. So and a donut or two. So thank you so much.
Yeah, the snacks, like everyone got real perky once they found out there were snacks. It was good.
If you guys ever have any ideas too, please don't hesitate to share with us.
Thank you, Jana. A is for Arts. It's Heidi and Amanda Capizutz and High Stabler are the chairs, and they couldn't be here tonight. But so I'm going to just give a brief update. And A is for Arts. They work with the fine arts teachers and sometimes bringing events to schools. We raise money for different needs that those departments need. The main thing right now is the Square One. I don't know if you can see that. The Square One Art fundraiser, which is a really big fundraiser for the Arts Committee. And I emailed with Miss Dean today, and she said that this is actually due tomorrow. She said you can even cut and paste something that your child has already drawn onto that. And there's a box at the front of the school for you to drop it off. And if for some reason you can't get to the school, send her, oh, there it is. Mr. Snow is showing it to us. Thank you. And yes, and she said that they're going to open the window and they'll also accept until 10 a.m. on Friday morning, but they can't take any after that because they have to get them in the mail to Square One in order to get everything back and printed in time for the holidays, because we all, you know, that's like the grandparent gift at our house is the mug with a drawing on it. Anyway, so this is a pretty a big fundraiser for the school, and a lot of the money that when you buy the products, it goes back to the school. So I don't know why I keep showing you that. Anyway, if you need a form or you aren't quite sure what to do with it, you can email Miss Dean, or you can email the PTO. We can help you figure out what you need to do. But Friday morning by 10 is the latest. I think that's it for committee updates. Is that right, Karen?
Yep.
The only other thing that I saw one question about for the Helping Hands Committee, maybe having a backstock of masks available, which I think is a neat idea. If we could, maybe people could sew and donate masks. So we have some extra masks for kids, maybe who don't come to school with masks, things like that. That's a great idea, Katie. So we'll.
Is that something y'all need, Mr. Snow or Miss Jackson?
As of right now, we are waiting to get some PPE materials from the district. We did receive, I think it was 50 masks from PTO at the beginning of summer. So we have those still, but I mean, if they are being made and delivered, we will definitely take them.
Okay.
Agreed. We do have about 400 children's masks that will be brought to us very soon, but we're always gonna need more for kids because we know they'll lose them and what have you. So we welcome them as well.
Yes. Okay, great. Yeah, and Erin was saying in the chat that there are kids masks coming and but they're a little bit large. So maybe we could get some smaller masks for like the pre-K and kindergarten kids, because you can sew them so they're really sized so they're actually covering your nose and your mouth. And we can definitely, I'm sure we can find some sewists to make that happen. I had a poll that I made on Zoom about what we want to do at our PTO meetings for the rest of the year. Don't roll your eyes at me, Carrie. So if you will just, what we did last year is we started bringing in speakers and different things. And so I just wanted to, while we're all sitting here together, you can just click a button, you can choose more than one, and just let us know what you might be interested in at PTO meetings for the rest of the year. So, because we are open, of course, we're going to share little bits and pieces of information, but also if some of us are still virtual, it's a time for all of us to get together and see our community. So I'll leave that on for 1 minute. So answer as quickly as you can. And then if you have any questions that you want us to address or that you want us to pass along, you can, I should have had Jeopardy music, Erin, that would have been a great idea. You can put them in the chat and we can address them tonight, or if we need to pass them along to the administration, we'll do that. It looks like from the results that a lot of people are interested in talking about equity and also hearing from our teachers. So those are two things that maybe we'll focus on and try to make a goal for our next few meetings. And if you ever have anything that you want to, us to talk about at the meetings, please let us know. Because like Carrie said, this is really your organization and we want everyone to feel like they're a part of what's going on.
All right. So are there any questions? That's all we had.
If we finish in under an hour, I can't believe it.
I'm excited. All right.
Okay.
No. All right, cool. I just wanted to reiterate again that we'd love for people to nominate other folks for officers of the PTO, and we'd be excited to have some new faces on the leadership committee. So please nominate yourselves or your friends to be an officer. Awesome. Ms. Jackson said principals were told child size masks are coming and hopefully they'll be here before the 9th. Awesome. Okay. Well, I guess that's everything. What positions are open? That's a great question. Right now, we don't really have positions. We're just like a leadership team. So really, aside from Lindy as the treasurer, and that's kind of has always been a defined position because it has very specific roles and responsibilities. But so really, president, vice president, secretary, you pick.
Treasurer too.
You could be, yeah, you could be treasurer too if you want to. If absolutely. But yeah.
Yeah, as far as treasurer goes as well, I took a tip from the Clark Middle treasurer. After this year, I only have 1 more year at the school. So if anybody wants to join with me to kind of learn the ropes and then take it next year, that might be a good way to transition if anybody is interested in co-chairing with me to learn the ropes.
And that's a good point too, that we aren't gonna, you know, have new officers and then be like, see you later, guys. Good luck with the PTO. Like, we want to work with you. So we're not trying to dump responsibility on anyone. We just love to have some new people. Alrighty. Well, if anybody else, if there's not anything else, I think that's it. All right, y'all. Well, thanks for coming, and email us with questions, and we'll post this later on.